Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Hexbuckler build guide in Baldur's Gate 3's patch 8. This is the Swashbuckler Rogue multi-class with the Hexblade Warlock, and there's some surprising synergies here. It's going to be using Charisma for its attack rolls as well as spells, so it's great for the face of the party, and also awesome if you're going for a themed kind of cursed pirate type build. So with this, we're going to start off as the Hexblade because this gives us a lot of nice benefits early on, especially like the shield spell. Now we also get obviously the most powerful thing from the Warlock is Eldritch Blast here, and we're also going to take Booming Blade for our cantrips. Now we get ourselves a shield and Wrathful Smite spells that we can select there, and we also get the Bind Hex weapon, which whenever we use this, it makes it so we're proficient in the weapon if we aren't already, and we can have a 10% chance to apply the Hexblade's curse when we attack. And we also have the bonus action ability here. So you curse a target, you get a bonus to your damage equal to +4 at level 10. And whenever you roll a critical hit, you have a 5% chance, or a 5% increased critical hit chance. We also get medium armor, shield, and martial weapon proficiency, and we're going to use charisma for our attack rolls. Now, the shield spell is nice for the very early stages of the game, although when you're using a level 5 or later level spell on it, it doesn't feel as great. So something like Armor of Agathis can scale with our character, which is nice. Hex is also somewhat nice, but we'll take the Wrathful Smite there. You can go with the shield spell because it can kind of save you at times. Armed Vidar also being quite nice. For our ability score, 16 dexterity for better armor class, and 16 charisma, because this is what we're going to be building around for our attack rolls and our spells. 10 intelligence and wisdom, and 14 constitution. And I'll also be covering base game gear options for this, as well as showing off what this will look like in combat. So once we get ourselves to level 2, we get ourselves the another Warlock spell slot. We get the Eldritch Invocations with Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast being two of the best. The Devil's Sight also works very well here, but we can take this at level 5. The reason we want this is going to add our Charisma modifier to our Eldritch Blast, and we can also push them back. And we get to choose a couple more spells here, so we can go with Hellish Rebuke and the Arms of Vidar, as we're typically going to be using a few of our later spells here. So once we get to level 2, we get some fun ones like Cloud of Daggers, which is a guaranteed hit. Darkness is also quite nice, and Hold Person, which can hold enemies in place. You also can take a Pact Boon here, and I would recommend Pact the Blade. This allows you to get that extra attack, which the Rogue does not have. Otherwise, we just use Charisma for our attack rolls. So this is the only way that we can get that extra attack, unfortunately. So that's what we're going to take there. And Pact the Chain can be nice if you want to summon and you didn't want to have that extra attack. At level 4, we get ourselves another choice in cantrip. We can take Toll the Dead or Bone Chill. And for the spells we'll be taking at next level, I would recommend Darkness or the Branding Smite, because this can make it so the targets don't turn invisible. However, this does use your bonus actions, just be mindful of that. Darkness being great for being able to hide out in and gives us a nice boost here, and we can also see in it at next level. So we'll go with a boost to our Charisma here for our first leveled feat. And once we get to level 5 here, we get our extra attack. So a big power spike. And we get some awesome spells here like the Hunger of Vidar and Counterspell, which we don't really want to use too much because this will use up all of our spells really quickly. Although having the Duelist Prerogative weapon lets you do 2 counterspells per turn, this can be a nice way to go about it, but it's up to you. We're going to be taking the Devil's Sight here because this allows us to see in magical darkness, which is huge because we want to use this to our advantage, and it kind of fits with the rogue theming as well. At level 6, we have the Accursed Spectre. Whenever we slay a creature that is inflicted with the Hexblade's curse, we can raise an Accursed Spectre that'll fight alongside us. So this is great because it'll take aggro for us and help out with fighting. And we can also go with the Fear spell or Counter spell if you really want it. But Fear is extremely useful. It makes targets fearful, disadvantage on attack rolls, and they drop their weapon, which you can pick up. I like Misty Step too, but again, it's another spell that just doesn't feel right to take, as we're going to be burning through our spell slots really quickly. Once we get to level 7, we get further increased spells here with things like Staggering Smite, which can possibly stagger a target. Phantasmal Killer, which is okay. Blight, which will do a bit of necrotic damage to the target. And Wrathful or Staggering Smite, probably the best choice here, so we'll roll with that. And for our Eldritch Invocation here, we could go with the Book of Ancient Secrets to get a few spells like Silence, which is nice to have. They don't use our spell slots, which is great. But Dreadful Word is also really nice because Confusion can be extremely effective, especially if there's enemies grouped together. At level 8, we get ourselves another choice in feat here. Banish can be okay, but we can go back and take the Cloud of Daggers or even the Shatter spell. And for our feat, we'll max out our Charisma at this level. Now, this is where we're going to swap in and take the Rogue now, as we got a lot of really good abilities here. The Rogue is going to add in sneak attacks, which for some reason did not appear there. We get our bonus action abilities to move around and disengage. And then at level 3, we get to choose our subclass, where we can take this Swashbuckler, which gives us fancy footwork. We make melee attacks. We don't get hit with opportunity attacks, so we can move around a lot. And we also get the Rakish Audacity, which gains a +2 bonus to initiative rolls and the scales with the rogue level. And you no longer need advantage to trigger a sneak attack as long as you're within 1.5 meters of the target. Pretty nice. But for our final level, this is when we get our dirty tricks. The flick of the wrist to flick your weapon at a target and possibly disarm them. We also get Vicious Mockery as a bonus action. And the dirty trick Sand Toss can possibly blind the target. This becomes crazy because we can use fear to make enemies drop their weapons and then do the dirty trick flick of the wrist and also disarm the target. But we also get another feat here, and we can use this to increase our dexterity if you wanted to. Alert for the +5 to initiative is also quite nice. The Savage Attacker will reroll our damage die, so we do stronger melee attacks. And if you wanted to, you could take the Spell Sniper and increase our Eldritch Blast critical hit chance. So those are some good options. Alert for the +5 initiative is nice, but we also get initiative from the rogue itself. So sometimes even this increase the dexterity for the better armor class and initiative can also work really well too. Now, what this is going to look like for gear, there's a few different options we can go with for weapon and attack. So with this current setup here, I guess I'll put on our medium armor because we get medium armor proficiency with this, so we can use the armor of agility. With this and the gloves of bracers of defense, I guess this is for if we were using clothing, we could swap that in if you're using a clothing option. The Hellas gloves will give us additional fire damage and better spell save DC, so this is probably the best in slot for our gloves here. But honestly, you could go with even anything like the gloves of dexterity to the early game if you want to set your dexterity as your dump stat. You can also go with the Gemini gloves to be able to target more with our cantrips. Dark Justice the Air will give us necrotic damage on our attacks, which can be really nice early game. And even the Daredevil gloves, which will give us the ability to do spells at close range, so we can hit Eldritch Blast a little more reliable. We have the Birthright hat on here, which is going to set our charisma up to 22, so we get a nice +6 onto our Eldritch Blast. And it's just great because we're going to use this for our weapon attack rolls as well. Cloak of Protection gives us a better armor class. Armor of Agility just gives us the best possible armor class. However, we could also go with the Ballast Armor here. This is going to take a hit to our overall armor class, but this will make targets vulnerable to piercing damage. So, depends if you want to be more defensive or offensive. This will be great for an offensive run. You could also add in like the Gloves of the Balanced Hand too if we wanted to dual wield. I'm using the Evasive Shoes here, but really any boots that you want, there's not too many that are perfect for here. Even the boots that makes you not slip on ice can be great. Now we want to have any type of weapon that's finesse. So the Duelist Prerogative is a great one. This gives us 2 reactions, which can be useful. However, we can also go with some of the more powerful ones like the Crimson Mischief here, which can give us the ability to do additional 7 damage whenever we attack. And this will be doubled if we have the Ballast Armor. So it's a +14 onto our main weapon attacks. That can be pretty strong. We can also add in like a Justiciar's Scimitar and Hideout in Darkness, and this can also apply. You can also blind your target if we attack with advantage. I think for the Undermountain King is a nice early game short sword that we could use as well. As much as I love the Sharp Spear of the Evening, it would be perfect here, although we don't get the finesse weapon off that, so not the most perfect weapon in the game. But even Sword of Life Stealing can be good if we want a critical hit fish, because this will deal additional damage and give us temporary health. So that's nice too. And if you want to use like a two-handed weapon, the Dancing Breeze is quite nice because this gives us extra reach and it's a finesse weapon, which actually works out pretty well here. So this one will take our overall armor class down a bit, but it could fit thematically here well. But if you wanted to, the Crimson Mischief with a shield is probably going to be the best for more defensive focused. So with this, it gives us 24 armor class. This gives us additional damage on our attacks. This is a late game weapon though, so going with the Dancing Breeze can be quite nice as well. It's entirely up to you between these two weapons, but this one's slashing damage, so you'd want to use a bit of a different armor than the Ballast Armor, probably the Yuan-Ti armor that you get the mid game. Now I'm using the Amulet of Greater Health, Killer Sweetheart, and the Ring of Protection for better armor class, as well as the Hellrider Longbow. So all in all, this is about being annoying, using this dirty tricks to be able to throw your weapon as a bonus action, and then also having your ability to bind your hex weapon as well. So you got a lot of cool tricks up our sleeve, and I'll show off what this looks like into combat. So to set up, we got a few ways to go about doing this. I would recommend playing as a drow because you'll get a free darkness spell. It's not going to burn up our level 4 spell slots here, but using darkness can be pretty nice because we'll see from it and the enemy might not. So with this, we could also start with Hunger of Dark, creating a group area there. Also, Confusion can be nice to set up there, or Fear Spell. These are all concentration based spells, so you do have to be mindful of that. But I will just start off with Simple Darkness just to show off because this build thrives off being sneaky. So we got our darkness set up here, and then we can they're gonna get out of the way of that. So now what we're gonna do is we got lots of prime targets here to go after because they are not paying any attention to what's going on. So then we can go ahead with our rakish sneak attack. So we'll go ahead here and go after one of these targets. We have a 95% hit chance on this target here, but we want to be a mage killer, so we're going to go after this one here. Unfortunately, we won't have the extra damage from the ballast armor because they're not considered an enemy until we actually get into combat here, and that wasn't enough to take them out. What's funny enough is they actually aren't attacking us, so we can finish them off with that extra attack, and then combat actually starts now. So we use up one of our actions. There's a target in our domain here, which is nice. We could also have dropped like a cloud of daggers here that would hit multiple enemies. So we do have lots of fun attacks here, but the only problem is a lot of these only work in an area of effect. Mind Blast is really our only ability that can hit multiple targets there, but I don't want to get rid of our concentration here, so we're just going to play to this. So what we want to do now is either you can go with an Eldritch Blast, or you can just go with a weapon attack here on the closest targets, prioritizing those that are like the healers there. We applied the Hexblade's Curse on this target, which is perfect, so we're going to finish off with a rakish sneak attack here, and boom, we missed. Of course we did, but not to worry, because we also have the dirty trick flick of the wrist here as a bonus action. We can use that, and then we can raise an accursed specter here. So this is perfect. We got our specter coming out of the ground, absolute perfection, because this is going to help out with us. So it's on the edge there. We don't get to control it, but we can just hide out in our darkness, which is going to mess with the enemies, as you'll see here. So this actually works very well as a kind of a rogue hybrid type class, because you can see there, this is going to be tanking for us a little bit. It doesn't have a whole lot of health, but it will draw aggro away, and it's just going to go ahead and attack for us there. They tried to pluck that soul. They saved on it. That's fine. Sometimes all you just need is something there to take hits for you, and they're going to come after us, but we're hidden out in our darkness, so we're pretty good. Sometimes they won't even bother with us, as the darkness does sometimes mess with their AI. And the other thing about darkness is it usually has large groups of enemies in one spot here, which is pretty crazy. I'm very tempted to drop down a confusion here, because we have a very high hit chance of just deleting them. But since we're in the darkness here, we got a lot of advantages, so we may as well take advantage of what we got. So we'll go with another rakish sneak attack here on this target, because we'll have advantage from being hidden out. This will likely take them out in one shot. Perfect. And then we can follow up with another attack on this target, which critically missed, unfortunately, and they critically hit us. That was very unfortunate. Just gonna follow up. We can go with like a staggering smite, but be mindful that these do end our concentration, so our darkness is quite useful until it blows up like it just did, weirdly enough. But I guess we'll just go with another attack here, and then flick of the wrist as well. The flick of the wrist is nice because you use your weapon damage, whereas the vicious mockery, it does scale with your character level, which is nice, but it's not going to be as strong as our other choices, so it's only upwards of 12 damage. So we'll go with this here, flick of the wrist, and we missed again, unfortunately. And I'm going to run through the fire into the darkness, and we'll just hold out there. And our specter is going again to try and devour soul, and they keep saving on it, but it's been tanking hits. It's only taking like 4 damage each time it gets attacked, so it's actually holding out a lot longer than I thought it would. And our targets are having a hard time with finding us. It's over there now. That's totally fine. I expected that. We can try to raise another one, because we still have the bonus action Hexblade Curse that we can use. Just we have like a chance of landing it normally when we fight. Now they're all hiding out in this little pocket of the non-darkness. This is the perfect time. If you have a Mind Blast from the Alith abilities, you can just delete them all right here in one go. So that's really nice. Darkness is obviously our best friend here in keeping us safe. But if you use any bonus action abilities, you lose those. I would also recommend using Confusion too as a really nice spell for taking out enemies. But we're going to go ahead here with our rakish sneak attack on this target here, and did quite a bit of damage, not enough to take him out, but we should be, oh, another critical miss. We should have taken them out there, but still, you can't always hit every shot. We took that one out. This target here is stunned, so we'll go ahead here with this one, hopefully having enough to retreat back afterwards. So we'll go ahead with the attack, and that did quite a bit of damage. And we can make our way back to darkness, so that's absolutely perfect. And we'll end our turn right there, because they still struggle for some reason. They'll just go after anyone else at all, because they have a hard time finding our character. Now this target was stunned, so we can just finish him off with a rakish sneak attack, or we can go with a vicious mockery for the fun dialogue that it gives. And Bear Jim Blackie. So yeah, that is a Hexbuckler, the Hexblade Swashbuckler Rogue multiclass in Baldur's Gate 3. Using darkness to our advantage, you can also use Hunger Hadar to hold them in place, but darkness ends gives us a bit more bang for our buck, because we won't get hit in it. And then also confusion and fear being some nice crowd control, or even hold person. If you want to use hold person and then go do some rakish sneak attacks on them, you can crush them. Pretty strong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.